Good morning, gardening friends. It's April 6th at a little past 11, and this is, I guess, going to be the beginning of episode 15, and I'm kind of back to what I was doing before. Episode 14 was an experiment that just failed miserably. I was trying to do things that so the commentaries wouldn't be so long, or so I wouldn't have to do only one episode per update. Well, I'm just going to have to stop talking so much. But in short, here's what we're looking at. Give you an idea what the big planter looks like. No real big update as far as the lima bean. There's the one bean on there, and as far as the tomatoes, nothing actually growing. Flowers kind of come up and go away. It's an old plant, not 2010. So here's the rest of the planter. Today I think some of my greens are actually mature enough that I'm going to try, especially on the far end here. You can see some of the greens in there. And then there's actually, if I just swing around real quick, I had one that was sitting on the wall, so that one was an extra, and it's grown really nicely. But before they bolt, I want to try and cut some of the leaves, harvest them, and enjoy them. I'll show you the rest of the garden real quick. No major changes, a little bit of growth here and there. One thing, what do we got here? This may be the distractions that's making it so long. Well, you can't see it anymore. There was a moth or something. There's the memorial planter. I've added more dirt, I've added more seed. This just turned out to be a marigold, and it's actually turning out to have a huge flower, so maybe that'll be the sort of tribute to Bill. The rest of it pretty much looks the same as it did. I am noticing that this marigold has all pretty much the same color flowers, so I might actually separate the heads when I deadhead this one, so I can be a little bit more predictable in terms of marigolds that I plant. Other than that, that's pretty much it for inside. And outside we've got the hanging planters starting from the shed, working our way to the back with this one, and these, and this one, which is doing really nicely. Let me just kind of get a little closer, give you a better shot of the top maybe. And the planters along the back, and there is a little development here in that these last two, just in sort of semi-frustration and semi-experimentation, since there's nothing really growing out of the bottom, all the transplants have failed on those two planters. I've now actually planted beans, so we'll see if they'll actually sprout and come down. If they'll sprout and come down, or if they'll actually sprout and come all the way through the top, I don't know. But it's just an experiment, we'll see. Then we're back here where I cut down this plant a little bit, so maybe it'll put a little more energy into that part there. Looks like broomcorn in this one. Over here, pretty much the same as it has been. Over here is about the same. The only difference, yesterday I planted a bean and a bunch of radishes in that one pot. I've finally just started cleaning some of this stuff out. Knocked off the dead branch of that particular flower, so we'll see if the one that's there will now grow a little taller. We've got our strawberries doing quite nicely. I'm looking forward to having something there. And then in this planter, we've got a little bit more progress. The rose plant is one nice little rose, although it's facing the wrong direction. It's facing a wall. But it's nice to see some progress there. There's one promising bud on this plant, right about there, right in the middle. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, actually, I see another one back there. So, and, oh, another one over here. So, there we go. This one's growing nicely. We'll see what that turns into. And finally, for those that may enjoy this on video, these are the flowers that are growing in the bush. I have nothing to do with that. That's chosen by the landscaper and the owner. But just some beautiful plants. So I think that's it for this update. Hopefully it was a bit shorter. Okay, quick update. That's what I harvested from the garden. And behind it, I've decided to take these two planters, one of which I removed from the shelf today, from the wall. Basically, I'm trying to reduce the number of flower boxes on the wall so I can actually get to building these smaller planters that are going to fill that space in, along with removing this shelf eventually. But anyway, so I've got these two planters that basically had nothing in them except for this one, which had what appears to be spinach. I got to verify all of these before I try and eat them. Make sure none of them are actually poisonous weeds. But I'm going to go ahead and plant some more of the mesclun, the mixed greens, in these two, since they're not really directly in the sun. They get a little bit of sun during the day, but being this far into the patio, they're not going to get as much. I put the two lights in there because one of them actually is ultraviolet. I actually take some of these lights sometimes and I will pull out the old light and solder in a new LED. But anyway, so that's kind of the update there. I'm going to plant some more. We'll see how that grows.